I was very, very surprised for the better by the debate performance of Vivek Ramaswamy this week. I think he held pretty much nothing back. I was shocked at his courage and brazenness to just come swinging out the gate in his opening statement with what he had to say. Was there anyone that really stood out to you, or any clear key takeaway moments that felt different to you about this debate than others?
I think the biggest thing that stood out to me, I think Nikki calling Vivek scum is like the biggest insult that's ever been on a presidential debate stage. Like, people were like, oh, you're a communist, or you're a this or that. Nobody's ever, she flat out said, you are scum. And I don't know, I was just like, that I think is the most forceful insult that any presidential candidate has ever said on a presidential debate stage.
I'm trying to think back to 2016. I mean, Trump called everyone everything, but you're right. I don't think I remember that type of insult. Well, it was like, you're a liar, you're all the way on the end because nobody likes you. But you're right, I don't think anybody's ever said that.
Scum is a big step up, at least in my opinion. So that was the low light, highlight, whatever you want to call it to me.
That's an interesting point. So we're going to start with opening statements. And I'll just try to give you my key takeaways like right out the gate. I was sitting in the audience here in Miami. It was a much smaller venue than Milwaukee and Los Angeles, so it was a little bit more of an intimate crowd. This debate was actually moderated by NBC News, so not exactly a friendly to right-wing news people. But I have to give NBC credit. Their set was the best I've ever seen for a presidential debate. And I thought they asked some pretty tough questions and specifically asked follow-up saying, okay, but to be clear, this is what we asked you and you didn't answer it. So kudos to NBC for putting that on. But right out the gate, we saw an opening statement from Nikki Haley and from Ron DeSantis, and just as expected, from my perspective, both so-called leading candidates other than President Trump in this primary, with Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, started out with the economy. The economy is terrible. Your wallet is hurting. Everything's so expensive. You can't buy a house. It's so difficult financially to be an American. And then they kind of started talking about some other issues. And I was disappointed to see that, because I've been no stranger to saying here on the stream, this cannot just be an election about the economy anymore. That's what the right always loves to do. It's why they lost so substantially in 2022. Because people don't think that their wallet is on the ballot anymore. People think their life is on the ballot. That's what the Democrat Party is convincing you of. And so I started to sit back in my chair right at the beginning and think, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch this, until this moment happened when one particular individual, Mr. Vivek Ramaswamy, had the guts to come out swinging and say this. I'll show you guys this clip from Twitter.
Ramaswamy, let me turn to you. Please make your case. Why should you be the nominee and not the former president?
I think there's something deeper going on in the Republican Party here, and I am upset about what happened last night. We've become a party of losers at the end of the day.
We've become a party of losers at the end of the day. Within the first 3 seconds of his opening statement, keep in mind, election night 2023 was the night before this, and Republicans did sustain massive losses all over the country. At least he was honest about that. And then he digs in even further.
Republican establishment. Let's speak the truth. I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018. 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party.
I think we have to have accountability in our party. You kind of might have heard some murmurings there in the background. As soon as Ronna McDaniel, the whole audience went, because quite literally 10 minutes before the show started, Ronna had come out on stage, thanked all of the candidates for being there. Like, that is a big no in Republican Washington politics, to throw the chairwoman of the RNC under the bus. But Vivek comes forward, says Republicans have lost in 2018, in 2020, in 2022, in 2023, and we're projected to lose in 2024 if she retains the helm of the position here. A few more seconds left in this clip, Joe Bob, and then I'm going to pull you in.
Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you. And frankly, look, the people there cheering for losing in the Republican Party. Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about, and bringing more people into our party. Do you think the Democrats, and we've got Christian Welker here, do you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate?
No, they
wouldn't
wouldn't.
do it. And so the fact of the matter is, I mean, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media establishment. Ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made-up disinformation? Answer the question. Go.
So we're all sitting in the audience here and we're like freaking out. You can see everybody's faces behind Kristen there and everybody's like, what just happened? And interestingly, moments before the debate started, my fiance Brock and I were sitting in the audience and we were talking to each other and looked at each other and said, gosh, you know, I just wish this was not like a podium style TV debate. I wish this was people sitting around a round table with big headphones over their ears, moderated by a Patrick Bet-David, who is sitting right across from us in the audience, or moderated by a Joe Rogan or Dave Rubin or something more like podcasty rather than a debate, because we might actually have a conversation instead of 15-second sound bites. And then Vivek ended up saying just that. So immediate reactions, Joe Bob, to coming out the gate with just, what did everybody call it? Flamethrowers, fire bombs, nuclear bombs for the RNC.
All right, here is my theory, and I'm going to build a case here.
Okay.
I think Vivek Ramaswamy watches the Isabel Brown live stream. I think that wholeheartedly. Okay, what is his big thing? He hit Nikki Haley. He's been talking about it. He was a TikTok person. He is a TikTok person.
He is a TikTok person.
He made a TikTok, and he's saying that Republicans have to be on TikTok because you have to go where the people are. And I know that's an argument that you've been making, and it would seem that, okay, that's a thing that he probably should do. Now, that's not the only thing, though. He's big into Gen Z. Not trying to like inflate your ego here, but if you were to name one big Gen Z person, well, no offense, it probably would be Brett Cooper. And
Brett, yeah, probably Brett. Not no offense. She's a queen, and we stan Brett around here, okay?
Then I think there's those two components. He's on TikTok. You've been defending TikTok. He's a big Gen Z person. We need to reach out to Gen Z. Who else better to talk to about Gen Z? And lastly, I don't know if you remember this specifically, but last time I was on the stream, not at your place, remotely, we were with me, you, and Chrissy Clark. I said literally the exact same thing. Why do Republicans allow progressives to moderate debate and ask questions from a progressive standpoint? And what does he say immediately on the first thing that he has the opportunity to speak is exactly that. So my theory is that Vivek Ramaswamy probably tunes into the stream every single day. And to that I say, Vivek, thank you for watching. Appreciate you tuning in.
Well, that sure would make me very happy. And if I ever get the chance to ask him, I will. But I was just totally struck at the generational tone shift as soon as he started talking. Ron DeSantis is Gen X. Nikki Haley is Gen X. They're trying to talk about a new generation of leadership replacing boomers that are mostly in Republican politics there in Washington, D.C. But even between the Gen X opening statements that were, the economy is so terrible, and also blah, 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 blah. Your wallet is hurting so bad, and also blah, 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 blah. Vivek Ramaswamy just comes guns a-blazing out the gate and is like, yeah, this whole thing is stupid. We lost last night. Why is anybody not talking about that? We all should be talking about that. Whose fault is it? We need to figure that out. Oh, and by the way, this whole format is also stupid because nobody's going to watch this and we should have done something more meaningful. I just sat back in my seat and was completely aghast. Like, you could have heard every person in that room go the whole time he was talking. And then obviously there was massive applause there at the end of his statement, because I think there was this moment that clicked for people, at least in the audience in person. I don't know how much it translated on TV. So chat, you guys let us know what this was like if you were watching live. But at least in person, there was this moment where it just clicks for you that that's exactly what all conservative voters are thinking, but no candidate is actually willing to say. Donald Trump isn't even saying that. And it was this kind of like lightning rod moment that reminded me of the because you'd be in jail moments in the 2016 debates, and really changed the nature of the whole conversation moving forward.
What do you think about Vivek? So this is me personally talking. I've also seen there are a couple things that, not a couple things, there are more than a couple things, especially like this, like his closing statement, that I really, 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 really like from the guy. And also, I get this weird salesman feeling about him sometimes, because he kind of, there's too many instances where I've seen interviews where like, okay, wait, you said one thing, and then literally a week later you said the complete opposite thing. And again, that's not to discount all the things that I think he's absolutely right about, but I'm curious to see if that's a good like going completely populist is like the right way of going about it. Aside from the fact that, yeah, there's several things that he says that I really, really like.
Yeah, that's interesting. That was immediately my takeaway in Milwaukee. It was kind of like every other answer. I was totally hooked. And that's the last time you were on the stream, I think. I was totally hooked. And then the very next answer, I was like, why did you say that? Why did you say that? But I've seen this evolution with some of his standpoints in particular. There's one that I don't see an evolution yet. And if I ever get the chance to speak to him face to face, I pray that I will be able to change his mind. And that's the under 25 take the test to vote thing. If we can apply that to everybody, regardless of age, that everybody should take a civics test to prove that they know how our democracy works in order to vote, I'd immediately be on board. But pigeonholing 18 to 25-year-olds as somehow more stupid than all of the other generations, when those people most recently took civics classes and a third of our country is projected to not even pass the citizenship test, I think it's a little bit of a misguided policy that he's having on the campaign trail, and I would love to talk to him more at length about that. But there are many, many things I think he is right on the money of, and you're right, there are a handful of things that I think, I don't know if I 100% align with that. But honestly, the more my political philosophy evolves, going into, this is my third presidential election that I will be voting in. I voted for the first time for Trump in 2016 when I was 19 years old. Then I voted for Trump again last time. This is the third time I'll be voting for a president. The more my political philosophy evolves and changes, and honestly, I feel more and more disenfranchised by the establishment Washington-based RNC, like many conservatives do, the more I'm realizing that it's not about aligning 100% with a particular candidate. You're not electing yourself to be president of the United States, right? It's picking the right person for the job at that particular time. Opinions will change, policies will change, but I'm hearing a lot more that very pleasantly surprises me from Vivek than I did at the beginning.